The time has come for the Washington Nationals as James Wood makes his Major League Baseball debut tonight. And again, this is the biggest Nats debut since, I'll tell you after this.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals there. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that subscriber button as well. And of course, search Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, including over on the Odyssey app, wherever you get your pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is, hit that subscriber for us as well. And of course, you can find us over on Twitter at Ryan Clary 11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it nowadays. It does not matter. And of course, today is the day. It is a James Wood debut. David, number 3 prospect in all of baseball. And really, if you check a different site, he's going to be a top 3 prospect, really wherever you check. This is a huge day. This is the day that we have all been waiting for. So finally, the day is here. What should we expect with not Dylan Cruz, with James Wood as he makes his Major League debut tonight against the New York Mets here at home, Nationals Park. It is a beautiful day. So in the later third segment of the show today, we'll get into a little stat prediction for James Wood. What could it look like for his debut as he goes up against a left-handed pitcher? Well, he's got some good numbers against lefties so far this season down in AAA. So we'll have that preview and those predictions a little bit later on in today's show. But in the second segment, it is a Nat Stock Report Monday. Who's been up and who has been down? We'll get you that in today's second segment. But we start off with, again, discussing the news of the day. James Wood makes his Major League debut today. And this is the biggest Nationals debut since, I'll have that for you, but today's episode of Locked On Nationals is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 and visit tnusa.com/lockedon. Today is a big day. This is the day that you guys have all been waiting for, I've been waiting for, and the Nationals, they have been waiting for quite some time. One of, if not the best prospect in all of baseball, makes his Major League debut tonight. And that name is the local kid from Rockville, Maryland, James Wood. James Wood, this is the biggest Nationals debut, in my opinion, since Bryce Harper. Simple as that. This is how big James Wood is. The 6'7" kid who has 70 grade power. He's got 60 grade speed. This is one of those guys who has developed into a legit 5-tool talent. Yes, a 5-tool talent across the board. He is very solid in center field or left field, likely will he be playing in tonight's matchup. He's solid on the base path. So far this season, he was batting around 350. He's got the hit tool. He's got 70 grade power again. He can steal bases. He's got a high baseball IQ. He's got a good feel for the zone. James Wood has been one of the most impressive prospects so far in AAA this season. And if you look at his numbers down in AAA so far this year, there has really been nobody better at the plate. Not a single hitter. Not Jackson Holliday. Not name that other prospect down in AAA. It has been James Wood. And so far this season, the Nationals, they were just kind of kicking this can down the road. When is he going to make his debut? When are they going to call up James Wood? Because we all saw down in spring training that, James Wood is the best hitter that the Nationals have right now. Now, is he going to make that jump tonight and be the Nationals MVP of this season? I don't know at this point in time. We'll have that prediction for you in the third segment, so stay tuned for that. But with right now, where we are going and where the Nationals are headed, you have to feel some type of way. You have to feel really good about this. Because again, just last Thursday, we were talking about this, and we've been talking about this all season. The Nationals, they cannot slug to save their lives. They can't. They haven't been able to so far in 2024. And really the only fix to it at this point was to call up James Wood. Now you may be asking yourself, well, what kind of impact will he have? Well, so far this season, he has a .595 slug and a .1058 OPS and 10 home runs. He is going to impact this team in a massive, massive way so far. And again, if you were to look at James Wood and really kind of what held him back a little bit, Mike Rizzo, Davey Martinez, they were kind of concerned with what he could do against left-handed pitching, as over the last few seasons, that's where he has struggled against. And really also, if you'll even look at last year, he struck out 173 times across AA and high A as well. That's a lot of strikeouts. But so far this season, he's got 42 strikeouts in just around 50 games, and he's got 40 walks. That's an obvious improvement right then and there. But even then, looking deeper into it, the concern and the really big, overwhelming concern for James Wood was what this guy did against lefties. So you may be asking yourself, well, what did he do against lefties this year down in AAA? He had a .1089 OPS against left-handed pitching. And if you ask yourself, what did he do against right-handed pitching? He also had an OPS of around .1050. The concern, the question marks that you had about James Wood, they have been fixed. The dream of this guy being one of the top prospects in all of baseball and living up to it has been completed, in my opinion. This is going to be the biggest debut since Bryce Harper back in 2012. And no, you don't have to wait until 10 o'clock tonight when he's playing in Dodger Stadium like Bryce Harper did for his major league debut. You get this kid in an 80-degree day, sunny, blue skies, right here at Nationals Park in DC. You get to watch this kid tonight. And again, think about it this way. This is the third prospect to come up from that Juan Soto trade. You obviously have CJ Abrams, who spent about a week and a half down in AAA before getting called up to the majors. And then you have MacKenzie Gore, who just started with the Nationals on opening day last year. And now you have James Wood, probably the biggest piece of that prospect haul. One of, if not, the face of this team moving forward for the next 7+ years. That is the kind of prospect that we are getting right here and right now with James Wood. And I've seen a lot of different people kind of talk about Wood and what this guy could bring to this Nationals team as we sit here today. The number one thing that he is going to bring is slugging. The thing that this Nationals team needs. They need it right now. They've been cold. You just lost 2 of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays, in which you weren't really hitting for that much power. You lost a pretty damn bad series against the San Diego Padres as well last week before that Rays series. Did not go so hot. And now you finally get back home for this next little homestand all the way through the weekend when you open up against the Mets tonight. And then you have the Cardinals coming in town for a nice little weekend series as well. And then you have the July 4th series. This Nationals team, this is what we have been waiting for. This is what you have been waiting for. This is what I have been waiting for. This is the time. And now you finally get to see it as James Wood makes his major league debut tonight. And of course, you'll have all the details on what to expect a little bit later on in today's show. But the time is now for James Wood to make his major league debut. And I can't wait. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So in the third segment of today's show, James Wood Watch. What should you expect? What will his line be tonight against the New York Mets? As of course, there is a pretty decent pitching matchup with MacKenzie Gore against left-handed pitcher David Peterson, who kind of did it pretty damn well against the Nationals so far this season. But MacKenzie Gore, his first start against the Mets, will have that for you because it was not very good. But again, MacKenzie Gore on the bump tonight. James Wood debut today. Thank you, AJ Preller, for making that trade just a few years ago. So let's get into a Nat Stock report. Who has been up and who has been down? Before we get into it, let me tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at PrizePicks. And guys, when we talk about PrizePicks, you didn't know that PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is also the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll. And you can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. And if you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Friday. And of course, all you have to do is download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Again, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Use our code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. And now, let me tell you guys about some of our good friends over at Tax Network USA. And of course, here on Locked On Nationals, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. And of course, it's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collections season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. And the IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, all you have to do is call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/on, and be sure to mention Locked On Nationals at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount after services. And be sure, again, mention Locked On Nationals, tell them I sent you, and you'll get a $250 discount off their services. Again, all you have to do is visit tnusa.com/locked on or call 1-800-549-1000. Now we get into it with a Nat stock report. And again, stay tuned. That's the third segment of today's show. We'll have a James Wood prediction tonight as he takes on David Peterson in the New York Mets, a left-handed pitcher, something that he has been killing so far this season. We'll have that preview a little bit later on in today's show, but we get started with a Nat stock report. Who's been up and who has been down? This is your latest individual performances for your Washington Nationals. So we start up the stock up for shortstop C.J. Abrams. Over his last 7 games, he is batting .409 with a .552 on-base percentage, a .636 slug, and an .1188 OPS. In that time frame as well, he's got a home run, he's got a couple extra base hits, 3 RBIs, 5 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Again, if you're AJ Preller right now, you are kicking yourself over that deal just because of what has been happening, what has been transpiring. MacKenzie Gore has been pitching well all season long, looking like a front-of-the-line starter. He still continues to improve. And C.J. Abrams so far this season has had an all-star campaign, has been one of the better shortstops across the National League at the plate. Defensively, there have been some woes here and there, but ultimately, I feel very good about where C.J. Abrams is at. This is going to be a legit shortstop for quite some time. C.J. Abrams continues to improve. He was a month ago today, he was struggling mightily, and he has since put those rumors to rest as he had a sub 800 OPS about a month ago at this time. But since then, killing the baseball. Again, around an 850 OPS on the season already. C.J. Abrams, a 23-year-old, he looks ready and he looks the part. He looks like a top 10 prospect in all of baseball where he was about 2 years ago today. So stock up for C.J. Abrams. He's been killing it. Speaking of someone who has not been killing it, stock down for Joey Meneses. Over his last 5 games, 0 for 17 with 7 strikeouts. Now, with James Wood coming up, there's going to be an odd man out in this equation. Who's going to see less at-bats? Number 1, Eddie Rosario, obviously. And number 2, Joey Meneses. Put Jesse Winker over at first base. I need to see Jesse Winker in the lineup every day. And also, on top of it, I need to see James Wood in the lineup every day. James Wood is going to be in the lineup, and if he's not, then he'll be sent back down to AAA at some point in time if he doesn't kill the baseball. But I can tell you this right now. Joey Meneses should not be taking at-bats away from someone like a Jesse Winker at this point. You are going to be trading Jesse Winker at this year's deadline, and calling up James Wood has certainly secured that at this moment in time. You cannot have Joey Meneses taking at-bats from someone like Jesse Winker because, number one, even if you weren't going to trade Jesse Winker, the obvious answer is to bat the better player. That is the better player. Hell, even at this point in time, if we were going to have a discussion about who would I rather see at the plate, Eddie Rosario or Joey Meneses, I might even lean Eddie Rosario. That might seem crazy to you, but I've seen it from Eddie in times. Joey Meneses, I'm just tired of it. It's over with. It's done. So stock down for Joey Meneses. I cannot see this guy continue to take at-bats away from others, so stock down for him. And a stock up for the new guy in town, Harold Ramirez. Number one, the glasses that he wears. I love it. Right off the bat. DFA'd by the Rays just a handful of weeks ago. Harold Ramirez went to AAA, got called up to the majors when he was in San Diego. So over his first 5 games, nothing too crazy, but he's 5 of 17. He's got a double. He's got a triple. He's got 5 RBIs. He's got a 765 OPS with the team so far. He looks pretty solid at the plate. He looks polished. And again, if Harold Ramirez, this is someone who has had successful seasons in the past, I could see the Nationals finding a role and really kind of carving that out for him. Now, again, having James Wood up in the majors, it kind of makes for this weird contention of who should be the odd guy out here. I don't think it's going to be Harold Ramirez at this point. I could see the Nationals getting him a little bit more at-bats as he continues to acclimate himself up with this Nationals team. And these have been kind of one of those signings where Mike Rizzo has always kind of had weird success with. He finds these guys who, disgruntled vets who have been across the majors before, who have had success before recently, but ultimately just haven't been able to really kind of get their feet under them with their new team. So Harold Ramirez is going to be one of those guys, in my opinion, where he could kind of fall in that Jesse Winker line. I don't think he's going to be as successful as Jesse Winker has been, but I would not be surprised at all if Harold Ramirez does have some success with the Nationals. We have seen it time and time again. So we'll see what the Nationals can do with Harold Ramirez, but so far, so good. He is 5 of his first 17 in his first 5 games with the Nationals. He's got a couple extra base hits, 5 RBIs, and a 765 OPS with the team. So shout out to Harold Ramirez. He has been pretty damn good. Stock down for, speaking of, Jesse Winker. Over his last 5 games, he's been 2 of 16. He's got 6 strikeouts. He's got a 489 OPS. Here's the thing with Jesse Winker. I'm not concerned with him whatsoever. This guy has been a net positive for this team so far this season. But as we inch closer to the trade deadline, and as you have James Wood up in the majors as well, I am interested to see kind of how Jesse Winker reacts to it. Because he probably sees the writing on the wall. He knows he's probably going to be traded at this year's deadline. He's a veteran. He's been there before. And now you have James Wood up in the majors who you assume is going to be playing left field every single day as far as he's up in the majors. And really, that's the decision that should be made, by the way. But what are the Nationals going to really kind of do in this scenario? And what is Jesse Winker going to do in this scenario? How is he going to react? That is really what I'm curious with at this moment in time. Is he going to be one of those guys who may be a little bit disgruntled and not really open up James Wood with open arms? Because again, it's a little bit of an awkward situation here. James Wood is going to be taking his job in left field more than likely. Now, I would assume James Wood might DH every now and then because they might want to take a little bit easy with this hamstring injury that he just suffered about a month ago. But at this point, Jesse Winker should be getting all the at-bats that he can. And ultimately, he just hasn't been himself over the last 5 games. Again, 2 of 16, 6 strikeouts, a 489 OPS in that time as well. Only 2 hits out of his last 16 at-bats. So that has not been the most pleasant time to be Jesse Winker. Maybe with James Wood in the lineup, have a little bit of protection there in the lineup. You could see Jesse Winker kind of take off yet again. But as we get closer to the trade deadline, you want to see Jesse Winker get hot yet again. So hopefully over the next few games, you can pick him back up. And then we're talking about getting a pretty solid return for Jesse Winker at this year's deadline. Stock up for relief pitcher Derek Law. Over his last 8 1/3 innings pitched, he's only given up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. He's got a 2.16 ERA, a 2.07 batting average against. His slugging is down. He has given up a home run in that time frame as well. But Derek Law is one of those guys this year where I think he has had some ups and downs, as we know. But ultimately, this guy has been pretty good coming out of the bullpen. Derek Law has pitched in meaningful situations. He has pitched in garbage time situations. But really, when you call his name, this guy comes in and he produces. That is really all you can ask for a relief pitcher. And again, the usage rate that he has been so far this season has been pretty much out of control. He's been going over an inning pitch. He's been asked to do 2 innings. Whatever it is, Derek Law, you call his name, and he's going to get the job done. So shout out to Derek Law. We haven't talked about him all too much this season on Locked On Nationals. There's been a lot of other things to talk about other than Derek Law, but he gets recognized today. A 2.16 ERA over his last 8 1/3 innings pitch. He's been pretty damn good. He did kind of have that one little mess up the other day, but whatever. Derek Law has been relatively solid so far in 2024. Now, what will James Wood's stat line be tonight? What will be it? Will he have a hit? Will he have a home run? Whatever it is, we'll tell you guys. But before that, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. And guys, I love sports. I love them so much, and I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. Again, head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. Again, if you're in Virginia tonight or even Maryland or even some parts of DC now, go over to FanDuel. Maybe splash a little money on the Nationals to win tonight's game. And also maybe a James Wood home run. You never really know. So FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Again, just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. Now we get back into it as the day has come. It is a James Wood debut day. What should we expect out of the top prospect in the National system? What will his number line be? What will he do against David Peterson? What will the Nationals do? Will the Nationals win with MacKenzie Gore on the bump? Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to wet blanket this a little bit. I think realistically speaking, James Wood could struggle. That's just the way that I see it. And again, this isn't a James Wood thing. This is a top prospect thing, making the jump from AAA into the major leagues. You have seen it time and time again now. Jackson Holliday gets the call up. He's been one of the better prospects in all of baseball for quite some time. Gets the call up to the majors. Struggles immensely. Strikes out nearly every other at-bat. Gets sent back down. Has not been right since. James Wood, on the other hand, probably the second best prospect behind Jackson Holliday, in my biased opinion. Maybe things are different, but even looking back to last year, Elly De La Cruz, a very similar skill set as to what James Wood possesses in front of him. Started off hot, and then ultimately kind of cooled off a little bit. So for tonight's stat line, what do I expect from James Wood? Well, does he get a hit? I think so. Is it going to be that mammoth 450-foot home run that has 115 exit velocity? I don't think so. But again, if you were to look at James Wood so far this season, here are the highest exit velocities by Washingtoners in the majors or AAA this season. Number 1, James Wood at 115.3 miles per hour. Number 2, James Wood at 114.8. Number 3, James Wood at 114.3. Number 4, Joey Meneses at 114.2. Number 5, James Wood at 113 miles per hour. And number 6, James Wood at 112.8. The kid's got power. Is he going to make that loud crack of the bat tonight? Is he going to hit a home run? Is he going to kill a baseball in which we're all talking about it for the next week? Unfortunately, I don't think so. Just because of the way that prospects have struggled since getting called up to the majors. I hope to God I'm wrong. James Wood is a little bit of a different cat. He's not out there for the flashiness. He's not going to be all too open with the media. He kind of keeps to himself a little bit more. So maybe he's got a little bit of a slower heartbeat. Tonight's his debut. It's going to be a packed house, sold-out crowd, MacKenzie Gore on the bump against the New York Mets at home. There'll be a lot of juice in the stadium. It's a beautiful night on a Monday here in D.C. Maybe James Wood has a bigger impact than what we think. But ultimately, it could be a little bit of a tough game for James Wood tonight, unfortunately. But the day is here. Debut time. You guys enjoy the game tonight. And if you're there, you're going to be witnessing one of the Nats superstars here in Washington, D.C. Can't wait. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. And on tomorrow's show, we'll have a James Wood breakdown yet again as he makes his debut tonight. I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a good one.